Hey, what's going on, everybody? Coach Brian here. Thanks for tuning in. Certified strength coach with criticalbench.com. And I'm just giving you some quick information on how to set up a personal training program, or just how to design a program altogether. Now, this is actually a tough topic to just quickly give you some information on. So I'm going to do my best just to share with you a few simple principles you can apply as a personal trainer. But if you're not and you're looking to see how a personal training program is designed, then you're in luck, because these points are very simple. Real quick, I have my master's degree in exercise science, and we spent a lot of time on program design. Things like periodization, how to schedule the certain seasons, looking at the whole versus the minute, things like that. So there's a lot that actually goes into designing a successful training program. The first thing you need to know when you're setting up a program is the client. That's your number one priority, is the client. Now, what I mean by that is all the demographics, the simple age, gender, things like previous history. This could be family history, this could be sports, this could be previous injuries, types of recent activity they've done. It's good to know the history behind the person. It's also important to know the goals, okay? Between those three, demographics, history, and also your goals, you're gonna be in a much better position of actually knowing where that person is, and where they should be going. Now, from that, you could kind of get the idea of which type of program to set them on. So, for instance, if they're, a heavier middle-aged woman with a history of heart disease and diabetes, who's never really exercised before in their life, has some nutritional issues, and their goal is to lose weight, okay, it would be safe to say fat loss, right? Makes sense. So as you can see, these three factors will kind of dictate how you design a program. So let me erase this for a second. Now, what does an actual program look like? Well, this is where the nitty-gritty comes in. This is where it takes years and a lot of time spent in books, case studies, research to see what's the most effective program for an individual. There's not just one template to follow, or we'd all become personal trainers and be successful in all we do. Every situation is different, and you need to train and design programs differently for each and every person. Just because something worked for one person doesn't mean it will work for someone else. So I'm just gonna give you a couple quick, really a simple template that you can use to kind of just build on. But the main thing you need to do is, ever before you start an exercise or a program, there needs to be some kind of formal assessment. Hands down, that's probably the most important thing you can do when it comes to a program design. I would even consider this the most valuable tool to use within the program, not just pre, but during and also post, to see if what you're doing is actually effective. I'm talking a real assessment, not can you touch your toes, can you squat down, because those don't really show any types of muscle limitations, imbalances, previous injuries. What it will show is just your physical capability of actually doing that particular exercise. I'm certified through the functional movement system, so I actually put clients and athletes through a series of movement screens that will allow me to see movement, and not just a certain strength of a certain position, but actually how the body moves in relation to its design. So the assessment is definitely the most crucial thing to know on how a person moves and how they're able to accept any type of external stimulation, things, resistance, isometric holding, how they do well under stress, things like that. And then from there is when you build the program. A lot of people, even successful trainers, they just skip this. They shake hands and they say, all right, let's go work out. But if you actually know anything about the human body and know how it's supposed to work and how it responds to exercise, it's going to take some time to actually sit down, write out a program. But that's something people don't want to do because personal trainers don't make money when they're not working. And if you're sitting behind a desk writing programs, you're not making money. However, the secret is if you can actually sell those programs. Believe it or not, people will buy money or spend money and buy those programs if you know what you're doing. So programs. This is one: assessment, program design, and now it's implementation. Implementation. But even from there, it's daily assessing. So every time you train your client, you train an athlete, you're always assessing the implementation that the design of the program that you were given from your assessment. Just because it's written down doesn't have to mean it's set in stone. I don't personally use a program in front of me when training clients. What I do is I do the assessment, and again, this is 15 years of experience. I've trained hundreds, if not thousands of clients by now. I've assessed them. I know exactly what they need, not by their goals, but how I see their body responding to movement. I design their program, and then I implement it the best as I think they can do. And then if they're not doing it in the way that I want them to do, I'm assessing their movement. And then all of a sudden, we go back to this. I'm reassessing them in an informal way just by seeing how they respond to the implementation. Then I redesign the program saying, all right, they didn't do well with this exercise, but let's try this exercise because XYZ. Implement it, assess it again. It might take 3 or 4 sessions before you find the exercise that they actually need based on their assessment. So without that assessment, you won't know how to design a program effectively or efficiently. You don't know which exercises to implement and if you're implementing the correct one. And if you're not doing a daily assessment on the person, watching them move and seeing how they respond to what you've implemented, you're not going to know if it's going to be effective. Again, personal training is all about training the person. So you need to pay attention to the movements, how they're responding to added resistance, how they're recovering, and also how the mental aspect of it is as well. If they're finding one exercise too easy or too challenging, then you need to reassess and redesign the program to better suit their capabilities. So that's just the overall design of the flow of that. So an actual 50, 60, 70 minute program needs to look like this. This might be what you're looking for. A warm up right there, okay? You're gonna always start off with a warm up, 5-10 minutes. Not rocket science there. Walk, spin, do some light dynamic stretching, things like that. And then depending on the program that you implement, you wanna do your complex movements, complex or compound movements. Again, this is not for everybody. Some people would start off something a little different. It really does vary. This would be things like power, strength, and also, I guess, power and strength. This would be like Olympic lifting, plyometrics, anything where you're doing more than one joint being used at one time, like squats, deadlifts, bench press, pull-ups, things that are requiring large muscle groups. And then from there, again, this is not for athletic training, so this is just general fitness. Next would be isolated or any type of isolated or unilateral. There you go. Thank you. So these would be more of like hypertrophy, muscle building, leaning out, things where you're focusing on one particular muscle at a time, like a bicep curl, like a little bit of core work, things like that where it's more isolated, or right side, left side, like some lunges, one arm raises, single arm overhead press. So that's where that would be. And then fourth would kind of be like your stability sequence. This is like when the body's in a fatigue state, you want to kind of just push it a little more. And usually people associate this with core work, which is fine. They go hand in hand, so that's a good way to structure that. And fifth would be a cool down. Cool down would be, a couple minutes of static stretching, get on a spin bike for a couple minutes, let your heart rate drop, kind of get some fresh blood in the muscles. So as you can see, this isn't my opinion, even though it's based on experience, but this is what all of the certifying agencies, schools of thought, universities, this is pretty much the best, safest, and most efficient way to design a personal training program. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of different variables that need to be that can be changed, like if it's athletics, if it's kids, if it's senior citizens, if it's injury related. All this will shift, but this is a good template to follow if you're just dealing with the general population, healthy individuals, just looking to whatever, weight loss, weight gain, bulk up, whatever it is. This, like I said, this is the best template to use just for a general program. So hopefully with all this information, you've learned a thing or two, and please take it and do some research on your own and seeing what works best for you and the demographic you're working with. If you've got a question or comment, post it now in the comment section below. I'm here to help. I will respond to you directly and give you any type of additional help or information that you might need to better your personal training career. Other than that, I want to leave you something to read. It's also a report that I wrote. It's called How Actors Get Shredded. It's just a fun little quick read on different ways actors prepared for a role for movies. Get it right here. Click this box. Give us your email and we'll send you the PDF for free right now. Subscribe to us by clicking here. Check this check box right here. And check out this box right here of this video that I know you're going to find helpful. Other than that, I'm Coach Brian. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome day.